What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video we are going to be doing a Bitcoin update Monday, and yeah, I did mention this on my Twitter and a lot of you would have wanted to see this, right? So we cover Bitcoin on the first day of the week so that you guys know what to expect for the rest of the week. So if you haven't already followed me on Twitter, by the way, at _ the Art of Crypto, you're going to want to do so. This is where I'm sharing any news as well as any coins that I might be looking at, as well as any updates like this one right here during the crash. So if you want to get, just the most real-time market updates, you're going to want to follow me on Twitter at _ the Art of Crypto. So immediately let's dive right into it. So if you were in the private Discord group, you would have known that I called that we were going to go back to 57,900 during the weekly open. And this is based on the Bitcoin CME Futures, right? And I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit weird. I just woke up. But otherwise, check this out, right? Bitcoin CME Futures was sitting over here. And this is why you pay attention to the Bitcoin CME Futures, because price more often than not tends to get attracted to fill in the gaps, right? Because price likes to fill in, imbalances. So for example, back over here, right, you had a period of imbalance over here where, there's no price action over here. And look at what happens, eventually, right? Eventually. So at the moment, we have formed some kind of an imbalance here. We have just filled in the CME futures gap, which means right now we have to figure out if the direction of this week is going to go up in order to fill in this imbalance right here, or is it going to go down to target the liquidity that is at 53,000. Now, during this entire crash, I was telling you guys, like, hey, before this crash happened, it is going to happen, and I was telling you guys exactly what to expect. And if you were in the private Discord group, you would have caught very, very close to the exact bottom for Bitcoin during this dump. The way that I came to that conclusion is based off of liquidity, right? Over here, you have equal lows on the 4 hourly, and if you go onto the daily, that's present as well. So whenever you have like equal lows or just some kind of a swing low, then when the price is in bearish order flow, which basically means the market makers are trying to, take out the sell side liquidity, then, you're going to target this, right? And look at where the price bounces, right? It goes just a tiny bit below that level and then goes back up, right? Eventually we did dip a little bit like lower, but you can see the point here, right? You target this liquidity, and then once you wick both of them, like once you stop everybody out, and then you go back up, right? So same concept, right? The market just simply gyrates between, the point of highest liquidity, right? Which in this case could be here, and it could be here, or it could be below here, right? Because anyone who went long at any point here, right? They would have gotten a free ride up to Bitcoin all-time highs, not once, but twice, okay? So the market makers really like to stop out everyone who is, potentially greedy, and this is how they do it, right? So at the moment, there are a few things that we need to take into consideration. The first of which is the crypto fear and greed index, right? Right now, the market is sort of in fear, sort of not really in fear. But either way, like there has been a lot more people who have been expecting 53K ever since, the point when I made the video about it, probably like 2 to 3 weeks ago. And if everybody is expecting the price to go to this spot right here, then there's a good chance that it will never even go back to that price. Or if it does go back to this area, it is going to dip even lower, which I already called that the bottom for Bitcoin is going to fall somewhere between 51K and 49K, right? And, potentially it could be at 50K. So when everybody expecting, that exact thing to happen, more often than not, it doesn't really happen. So could we potentially go back down to 53K and 49K? Well, it's hard to say right now, but I can tell you immediately that Bitcoin is looking bullish in the immediate short term, right? I mean, like over here, you've got a higher low, and then over here, you've got your higher high, right there, right? This is on the 4 hourly, which is why I say this is in the immediate short term. If we go onto the daily chart, it paints a different picture, right? We don't even have a high low, but we don't even have a high high, but we potentially could be forming a higher low soon. But this is on the daily chart. So on a higher time frame, we are still bearish, which means we should expect 53K and 49K to get attacked, right? And when I say attacked, I mean like look at this imbalance in price action right here, right? This entire block right here, there's no price action, right? And imbalances tend to get filled one day or another. So at the moment, I am still leaning towards Bitcoin being bearish and that we will be going back to 53K or 49K. But I also do not want you guys to get caught up in, the bearish scenario, because there is also another scenario, like, you don't want to get too biased, towards any given direction, right? You want to be prepared for both scenarios. So in the event that Bitcoin is going to be bullish, and again, right now, everything that I'm saying is expected to take place either, this week or next week. So this should give you a fairly good understanding of how to approach trading in this week, in the next 5 to 6 days. So the bullish scenario in this case, which I am still bullish because I took a long here, right? It indicates that I am still bullish. So in the event that we are still bullish, I do expect that we will go back to 62,300, right? Because not only is this, if I just draw this block out for you guys, right? Let me just remove that block and let me just draw something, something like this, right? You can see that this is sort of your not weekly. This is going to be your daily zone of supply, right? I want you to, so if you come back over here, right, you can see that this zone of supply can either go from here, right, 62,300, or it could start here at 63,300. So either way, I do expect eventually, as long as we are bullish for the week, we will go back to retest that area. And it just so happens that we have a previous swing high over here, which acts as a point of liquidity that we can take out as well. And then, potentially end up somewhere here or end up somewhere here before we continue to move downwards. So at the moment, that is still what I'm leaning towards. Although, like on the 4-hourly and on the daily chart, it is not looking very pretty for longs at the moment. Like, I am a very big bull, but sometimes you just gotta look at the chart and back here, I predicted the exact top as well. So I really hope you guys took your profit over here. And right now I'm predicting the exact bottom to come somewhere at about 49k as well. So I hope you guys are ready for that. So at the moment, even though in the immediate short term, we might pump up to this point right here, which again lines up with a fib retracement, right? If you just draw a fib from this swing top over here to this swing low over here, this lines up with the 0.618. And is this a coincidence? I think not. The market makers like to leave their traces everywhere and they don't really even try to hide things, right? And again, it should line up between these two levels right here. So if in the event that we do get back to these two levels, instead of looking for a long, right? This is not bullish, right? As I've mentioned before, we are not bullish on the daily chart until we at least break above 61,000 and overcome this daily block of supply, or in this case, a bearish order block, right? Because a bearish order block is simply like the bearish block, the last bullish block before a massive move upwards. And in this case, you could even move this zone of supply, hold up to remove this part. So you could even move this zone of supply down to this block right here. And this would be your bearish order block, right? So at about 63,300 to about 64,300. So in the event that you do go back up to 62,300, or even this point right here at 63,300, which I'm going to mark out, remember, these three zones right here is a 0.618, 0.705 and 0.786, which are very strong levels on the Fibonacci. This is the golden pocket, right? And in the event that you get back here, rather than looking for longs, I would actually call for a short, and then we will go back down to, fill in some imbalances, potentially take out previous lows. That is the bias that I'm leaning towards at the moment, right? So the bullish scenario is going to be first a breakup of 61k. If you get a breakup of 61k, it indicates that you are going to go to one of these three levels, which means if you were building some kind of a short, I would, in my opinion, if perhaps I had $1,000 to play with, I would go in with perhaps, $500 of a short here and $500 of a short here. I would ignore 64,300 because having a trade that is like this wide on Bitcoin is simply not a good idea, right? I know this is a 3%. If you really wanted to take, dollar cost average 3 times, you absolutely could, right? Then it will look more like maybe 250 here, maybe 400 here, and you get the point, right? 200, 400, or you get the idea, right? You get the idea, right? As the higher the price goes up, you increase your bet size, right? In this case, assuming that we are going to go with $3 cost average positions, right? This is going to be a 3%, range that we are dollar cost averaging. I will set my stop loss above 65,700, right? This is going to be my stop loss, because a bearish order block, we take a trade based on a bearish order block with the expectation that the bearish order block is going to hold and continue the bearish trend. So this is the trade that I'm going to be going for in the event that we do get it. Again, while I am bullish on Bitcoin over, say a 12-month period, immediately it does not seem very bullish to me. And in fact, I do think the bottom is, I'm not bearish, I'm not bullish, but I'm just preparing for both scenarios if we do get them. And the bearish scenario in this case would actually, like, honestly, like just now I talked about how this would be the bullish scenario, right? A break above 61k. The bearish scenario is simply you are already in a bearish scenario, right? There is no bearish scenario, like you are already in it. So until that changes, you continue to assume that you are bearish, right? And until you truly break above 65,500, right? This is going to be the level to watch, 65,500, 65,600. Until you break above this order block right here, you are not truly bullish, right? Or until you break above this high right here, right? You get rejected here, and then you form a higher low, right? This point right here, once you get this, then again, on the daily chart, once you get that, then you might be bullish, right? But otherwise, we are bearish until otherwise proven so. And that is sort of the mindset that I want you to take into your trading as well, right? Instead of trying to predict things, you simply read and react, right? I mean, of course, you can still try to predict things because like back over here, I was already predicting the top and I was predicting that it was going to reverse from here, right? But that comes with experience. And as a beginner, you know, go for more of a read and react approach. And, you know, God forbid, if we really do dump down back to 45k, right, or even 44k, this is the block that I've been talking about for ages now, and I do not expect that we will fill this. But in the event that we do fill this, again, I did say that this was going to be the bottom, but I didn't want to freak you guys out. But you know, sometimes I feel like I have to tell you guys the truth. If you guys were following me back on my channel, back at this point, any point right here, you would have known that I called the Bitcoin bottom at about 40k, and this is exactly what we got, right? We came back to 40k and we pumped. So the way that I reached that conclusion is through this order block right here on the weekly chart. Back then it was on the weekly chart. So at the moment, the reason I know that the next bottom is going to come around this block is because, you know, this block right here. So, you know, in the event that we do get it, this is going to be the bottom. This is going to be where my heaviest positions are going to be built on. And if you do get it, then I do believe this right here, this point right here is going to bring us up to 100k, which is essentially a 2x on the largest market cap crypto out there. So in the event that you do get it, hey, that's going to be the bottom. And if you want to follow along with the trades that I'm calling, as well as any coins that I might be looking at, as well as get access to, you know, all the small cap coins that I'm about to be calling, and yes, I will post it on YouTube as well. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you know when I post the, you know, sort of like the top 5 coins that will 10x over the next year, 10 to 50x actually. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you know, either check out the link in the description below to join the private Discord group, or, you know, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Over here, you're going to get access to the trading education, you know, the channel where I post all of my market updates, as well as any coins that I might be looking at. And just to share a bonus for you guys who have watched until the end of this video, the coin that I'm particularly interested in is going to be Pancake. Right now, you know, I like to reward you guys for watching until the end of the videos. So the coin in particular that I'm looking at is going to be Pancake, right, which I already posted on the private Discord group. So if you want to get access to, you know, all of the coins that I'm looking at, make sure you head to the link in the description below. But otherwise, if we go onto Pancake versus BNB, you can see that it has been underperforming basically for the majority of the year, right? And at the moment, there are 2 very key levels of support that I want to look for Pancake Swap, which is 0.2474 and 1931. Now, I do believe that this level right here is going to be the bottom. So in order to translate this back to the USDT chart, this is about a 25% drop. Am I saying that we're going to get there? That's not what I'm saying. But if we do get there, that is going to be very close to the bottom. And that level is going to come in somewhere about $11, right? So if you do get $11.3 Pancake, I do want you to, you know, perhaps place an order, and we are going to do a quick bounce. And just another thing that I want to bring your attention to is this right here, right? Basically from the start of, you know, basically from the inception of Pancake Swap onto Binance, it has been consolidating. Like it has just been forming a gigantic consolidation pattern, which means that eventually its time is going to come and it is going to target $100. And yes, I am calling it in advance. I am saying that Pancake Swap is going to hit $100. I do hold a very massive bag of Pancake that has been staking over a very long time, and my target for Pancake to take all my profits is going to be at $100, give or take. This is going to be about a 6 to 7x, which is very possible in a crypto bull market. So if you do get it at $11, that's going to be very close to a 10x. So that's something you're interested in, make sure you stay tuned, right? Sorry, make sure you pay attention to this one, you know, at about 11.3 to 10.8. So if you're interested to join the private Discord group, go ahead, link is in the description below. But otherwise, may the gains be with you, my friend. I hope you trade safe, right? This week is, it's not a very it's not a very safe trading week, if I'm going to be honest, right? It's just a lot of uncertainty. So if you are absolutely able to sit this week out, something I recommend you to do. Again, like if you follow my channel for any amount of time, you know that I mentioned that not every week, not every month is going to be a trading month. So sometimes market conditions are subpar and you don't want to try to force things, right? And this week is one of those weeks where you wouldn't want to try to force things, right? You just want to set your limits down low, and if it gets there, you're happy, right? You just bought low and you can then sell high afterwards. But otherwise, I really wouldn't try to, go for like, oh, I'm a day trader. Oh, I can make 10% a day. I mean, you can if you know what you're doing, but otherwise, I would just try to stay out of the market in terms of, market buying, right? Setting limits, absolutely, right? If anything, I'm going to be very busy setting a lot of limits for, perhaps a potential dump, right? Because I want to be able to catch these candles right here, which, I'm good at doing. And don't worry, I will be calling more of these kinds of limits over the course of the week. So make sure you stay tuned. But otherwise, may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.